People really don't know what their expenses will be because they don't know how long that they're going to live.
Americans are worried they won't have enough saved for retirement now more than ever.
Retirement is going to cost, for many folks, over $1 million.
Is no sure thing in investing, but a lot of people think that annuities may come close to that.
It's going to more safe things that they know. If they know they're going to need that money to supplement their retirement, well, then you can't play that risk.
This is the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr., founder and partner of Heischman Financial Services, serving the Columbus and surrounding areas. Jon specializes in educating pre-retirees and retirees about safe money strategies and ideas. Now, it's the Safe Money and Retirement Show. Here's Jon Heischman Sr.
Good morning. This is Jon Heischman bringing you the Safe Money and Retirement Show. I want to talk about distributions from a qualified plan. And probably one of the most important, the majority of the money could be in a 401k, but it also includes a 403b, a TSP plan, and pensions, any type of qualified money that you have with your employer. If you're getting ready to retire, or if you're 59 and a half years old or older, you need to know the ins and outs of these distributions. And I say 59 and a half and older. Once you reach 59 and a half, most of the time you can take distributions from that qualified plan, roll over the entire amount or a portion to your own IRA. Now, this depends on how the plan documents are written, but I have had situations where the entire amount can be rolled over. But on the other hand, recently, a new client wanted to get as much money out of his 401k as possible, and he was able to take out approximately 75%. Personally, I kind of like that because the account was not closed out. He can still participate by making contributions and receiving the match from his employer because he's still employed. You might be thinking, well, why would someone want to move as much as possible out of a 401k plan? And it depends on the individual. Now, in this particular case, he wanted to eliminate risk. He also wanted control of his money and felt that it would be in a safer place by rolling over to an individual retirement account, an IRA. And as I mentioned, he is still participating in his employer's 401k because he's still employed with that 25% that he left in the 401k account. So he was very pleased, felt he had the best of both worlds. And after reviewing all the options, he was very pleased with his decision. Just something to think about if you're still working and you're over age 59 and a half. So actually, this is considered a partial rollover. And again, in this case, 75% of what his 401k balance was. And because it was a partial rollover, there were no tax. A full rollover is usually done at retirement. It's a tax-free transfer of the money going from one retirement plan to another. And it must go into a plan that has the tax status of an IRA to keep the money qualified. Now, when considering a rollover, what I want to do is go over several factors which each individual need to consider and compare, such as examination of fees, services offered, investment options, when penalty-free withdrawals are available, and when required minimum distributions, RMDs, may be required as well. There's also considerations as to should you leave the money with your employer if that option is available. Most people don't like doing that, but there could be a situation where that might be more beneficial for you than doing the rollover. That's why it's very important to me to make sure each client, everyone I talk to that's in that situation that's doing a rollover, make sure you review all your options. Where do you want that money rolled over to? In other words, what type of plan is best for your risk tolerance and risk capacity? Getting ready to retire and faced with a rollover, let me help you review the paperwork you received from your employer, which will show those options, and then determine where should that money go. In other words, what are we going to roll it over to? We do a lot of rollovers each year, so we're more than qualified to help to make the right decision. 888-426-0177. Now, that's the number. It's available 24/7. Your call and message will be forwarded to me, and I will follow up. 888-426-0177. One thing comes to my mind that I think is very important is those of you that are still working and you have that qualified retirement plan, review the beneficiary designations for that plan, because chances are some part, if not all, of your retirement benefits will be distributed after death occurs. In some cases, the plan participant dies before retirement, and before any distributions can be made, that beneficiary needs to be intact. If a lump sum distribution were due to the plan participant, which would be the employer, it's going to go to that beneficiary as a lump sum. And the importance of naming a beneficiary in the absence of a named beneficiary, the distribution is going to go to the estate. So many plans, including individual IRA accounts, beneficiaries have not been updated because it's something that most people don't think about that much. And in a case of a divorce, death of the beneficiary, or any other situation, that beneficiary probably needs to be changed and updated. As I'm discussing qualified plans, another important thing that we need to address is most clients do not have a single retirement plan. They have several, meaning IRAs, a profit-sharing plan, a defined benefit plan, and possibly a 401k, 403b. Now, let's say you're at the age where you need to take required minimum distributions from these qualified plans. A certain amount each year has to be taken. You don't have a choice. The IRS says, we want our tax money. You have to take a distribution from each plan. And each qualified plan has to be calculated separately. And many times, the more qualified plans you have, the more likelihood you're going to get in trouble because you're going to miss one. I like to have my clients have their required minimum distribution set up systematically to where every year the company, where their money is managed, is going to figure what that RMD is going to be. Therefore, you don't have the liability of missing one and have to pay the penalty to the IRS. Now, you can take the total amount that you have to take from all plans. You can take it from one plan. But the other ones that you didn't take the RMD from, they need to know what you're doing. It gets complicated here. So the bottom line is, let's figure out what all of your RMDs are going to be. Where are you going to take them from? Are you going to take them from one, or are you going to take them from all? And make sure you get it right and have it set up right for future RMDs. And of course, I can help you with that, show you what the amounts are going to be, figure out how you want to receive them, and which way are you going to receive them. I welcome the opportunity to help in any way I can. That's what I'm here for. You can call me at 888-426-0177, 888-426-0177. Let's take a short break at this time. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman. For more information, call 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. Or visit their website at HeischmanFS.com. More of the Safe Money and Retirement Show in a moment. There are some gains in life that most folks don't mind losing. Extra weight gained or credit card debt gained. The number of miles gained on your car. But losing your retirement gains is no one's dream. Would you like to retain the retirement money you've gained over the years and at the same time create a paycheck for life in retirement? Then call Jon Heischman at Heischman Financial Services, 614-861-7055. Or call toll-free at 1-888-426-0177. His clients don't lose their gains due to market risk. Their gains are locked in with no exposure to risk. Retain your gains. Losing some of the candles gained on your birthday cake would be great. Or losing some of the strokes gained in your golf game would be a dream come true. But losing retirement gains would be a nightmare. Don't risk it. Retain your gains today. Call Jon Heischman at Heischman Financial Services to find out how. Call 614-861-7055. That's 614-861-7055. Or call toll-free at 1-888-426-0177. Welcome back to the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman. To contact Jon, the number to call is 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. Once again, here's Jon Heischman.
This is Jon Heischman, and I'm back for the second part of our show this morning. I'm going to talk about creating sustainable income streams, starting at and in retirement. Most all individuals, they understand the basic strategy of saving money for retirement. Save early and save often. How to turn a retirement savings accumulation into a sustainable income stream is much less understood. So there needs to be a disciplined distribution plan. When we get into designing that retirement income plan, I'm going to touch on several different strategies that I use depending on the individual client. And there has to be a strategy because it's not a situation where a retiree starts drawing income from the retirement accounts at a set amount. For example, let's say you have $400,000 in retirement accounts. You're thinking, I'm going to withdraw $2,000 per month. It sounds good. It sounds reasonable. But when you do the computation and depending on other factors, you're going to run out of money during retirement. So there has to be a plan. I have to put together some guidelines to follow because regardless of the income withdrawal strategy, the retirement income has to last the rest of your life. One of the most important ways to take income in retirement is what we call the systematic withdrawal and the 4% rule. This approach will generate ongoing cash flows by liquidating from a regular, rebalanced, diversified portfolio. Now, the key to systematic withdrawals is to identify the withdrawal rate that's going to allow you to receive regular streams of income without running out of money before the end of your retirement. You may be thinking, why 4%? Well, years ago, an individual by the name of William Bengens developed this so-called 4% rule. How he figured that out was very detailed, which I won't go into during my show, but the bottom line is, if we can operate at this 4% withdrawal rate, especially early in retirement, you should not run out of money. Your rate of return on the funds left in your retirement account after paying you an income of 4% should be 4% or greater. And if not, you're going to need to make some adjustments on your retirement accounts. Now, as the retiree gets older, this rate can be adjusted up to help offset inflation, especially when we see growth in those retirement accounts that are generating income. That's the perfect scenario. You may be thinking, gee, 4% is awful low as far as the amount of income it's going to generate, but keep in mind, most individuals will have Social Security. Some are fortunate enough to have a pension to help offset that low withdrawal rate. And especially over the last 15 years, one of the best ways to offset that low withdrawal rate is to make sure some or all of your retirement accounts have what we call the guaranteed lifetime income benefit, where that income is set and it's 100% guaranteed for life. So if you haven't looked into that, or if you have some accounts that don't have that benefit, you really need to find out more about how that can be added. So give me a call and we'll talk about that. We can schedule a 5-10 minute, even 15-minute telephone call. It's up to you, and we can discuss it over the phone. 888-426-0177. That number again is 888-426-0177. 888-426-0177. What about the bucket strategy? It is an alternative to the systematic withdrawal approach, which actually became very popular back in 2007 to 2009 because of the financial crisis. The bucket approach is meant to mitigate the sequence of returns risk by creating a bucket of cash or money market instruments similar for your immediate cash flow needs, while also maintaining a diversified portfolio of more volatile assets with higher potential return for future needs and income. This approach is going to recognize that retirees face different risks as they move through retirement. The 3-bucket approach is based on specific times when the money will be needed in retirement. So we have the first bucket comprised of short-term, low-yielding, liquid investments. The second bucket is structured to cover income needs that is going to occur 5 to 15 years. And bucket 3 can be used later in life for legacy purposes. And typically this is going to be your higher risk, potentially higher rate of return. Here's another strategy called floor and upside strategies. Here, the focus is on safety over growth potential. It locks in some secure system of retirement income before investing in any remaining retirement assets in a riskier portfolio. A so-called income floor is a level of income below which a retiree will not fall. It is a fixed amount that is typically enough to cover your fixed expenses. Keep in mind, this income plan should be flexible and adaptable for adjustment as time goes on because of several different factors. Another strategy is the use of annuities, which is most favored by economists, particularly for retirees who aren't concerned with leaving a legacy. Here, the annuity provides the greatest longevity insurance of the strategies that I've been discussing. And there are several different types of annuities that can be used, but my preference is one that generates the guaranteed lifetime income and will pay the beneficiary the full accumulation value upon death. Regardless of the different distribution approaches, it all boils down to what is best for you, the amount of retirement assets that you have, because the majority of people fear running out of money in retirement more than they fear death. What I've seen in working with my clients, a definite distribution plan is going to help them feel less overwhelmed by the decisions that they're going to face as they enter retirement. It's important to give them more confidence in their ability to retain financial independence. So I've given you some ideas and different strategies to think about your retirement income plan. And I'm sure the majority of you have not heard of these strategies prior to listening to my show. As I said before, it is so important to work with a retirement planner for that income plan, and if at all possible, start the design prior to retirement. That way you get a good idea of where you're at. It's going to be adjusted. Don't worry about the fact that you're stuck with that, but that preliminary plan can really be valuable. And as mentioned, it has to be flexible so we can adjust that in the future. Need to talk about your income plan or a second opinion to have it reviewed? I'd like to hear from you. 888-426-0177, 888-426-0177. I thank you for joining me today, and feel free to listen to past radio shows by going to HeischmanFS.com. That's the website, HeischmanFS.com. Join me next week. I'll have some new ideas for you that can help you plan your retirement and have a better retirement if you're already retired. Thanks again. This is your host, Jon Heischman, with the Safe Money and Retirement Show.
The Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr. To get in touch with Jon, call 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. For more information about Heischman Financial Services, visit their website, HeischmanFS.com. That's HeischmanFS.com. Join us again next time for the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr.